my personal homepage. I come into work every day and see this as my signed in search experience. We'll push it through your Active Directory, and every single person will be able to have this type of a homepage. Or essentially, they're able to search for anything they need at work through the search bar across all their different connected apps, their calendar. And then we take the activity, the permissions, and the profile of each person logged into every single application to show them suggested content, anywhere they've been mentioned, any recent files they've worked on, either within their own personal instance or within the team or larger group that they're on. So it's a very easy way to stay aligned with your organization and then find the things you're looking for really easily. Let's do a search. How do we let's ask it a question. Something generic, like why do we have this LBLA meeting every week? And then, like you're going to see, it's going to find me 789 results across all of these different connected data sources. And then I can scroll down and actually find a specific result and dive right into that. But generally, it's going to be able to hopefully find me the result in the top part of my page and really understand the different languages between people talking and different channels saying, hey, where's this deck? And finding the right version versus an older version and so on. You're able to actually summarize some of these threads, which is sending it to a large language model and getting a quick understanding of what happens in a Slack thread or in a document or a transcript. But you can use the power of large language models to essentially understand any piece of information that's in this search result page.
And that's a document preview there, Nafu.
Yeah, so you don't even need to actually.
And then you can see Nafu, you can ask the document a question right from this screen. So it provided a summary, but then you can continue prompting and asking questions on this document without having to read through it.
So what do you guys integrate this with Teams?
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah, we integrate with all the applications you listed.
But you guys use Slack, right? Internally.
No, we use Teams.
No, I mean Glean. So,
you
so
guys,
I don't think you have Teams here in the demo, do you, Dan?
Oh, that's fine.
No, it just shows up the exact same way. We see it as a chat data type.
So what are the other tabs? Like this is the main search, right? This is the
main search. So it's unified across all of these different data sources. Lets me do things like I only want things in the past month, or I only want information from a single person, or certain type of content, and so on. Very similar to what you'd see in Google, right?
Yeah.
But if I was to do a search, and even if I was to do something more generic like data connectors, let's say, again, 23,000 results. I can use all these global data types, we call them, to search, or I can go into a specific channel. So say if I wanted to look at just Jira tickets, again, it's gonna run this.
For example, like, could you ask like, oh, what was like someone comments on like a Jira ticket? Could it retrieve that?
Yeah. I'll have to take a Jira ticket here. And then I'm just going to click out to the main page. And this may be a better example because we're kind of in the search interface here. And like Simon mentioned, you can search and then find something and then summarize it. But for a bigger question like this, we may be better off using our chat interface, which is then sort of like the large language model or the chat GPT for work. So you can use Glean to search for your results, or you can have more of a conversational experience with this chat interface. And in this case, right, it's then looking at where that ticket is and searching for people data connector Jira ticket comments, and it's generating a response for me based off of it. And it's even saying based off of the answer in that ticket, here's where you should go next to find more information.
So what about the other tabs? What are the other tabs?
Yeah, let's go back to that search interface. I wanted to point out a couple other things out. Can you go back to that search screen?
Yep.
Dan?
Search for something here.
No, the screen we were just on.
This one here? Or
Oh,
the main?
I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's frozen on my end.
Yeah, no, I was on another tab, sorry.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and then do your search there. Yeah. So as you're typing, you see what happened. He's got the autocomplete, or the system has an autocomplete NAFU. So this is like if your recent search history, but this is just your own recent search history, right, Dan?
Yep.
So if you're asking similar questions or frequently asked questions, that's going to autocomplete as you type. And then you've got some filtering options here too, right? You showed us last time there's some other filtering options where you can filter on meta fields.
Yeah. So if I was to look for something that was like Jira tickets and I really wanted to know with a certain person in the company, I can start looking across identities. And then I'll actually say with someone on your team. So in this case, Sherry's our customer success manager I work with a lot. If I did this search again, it would narrow down across all the different data types to find 6 places Jira tickets is talked about with Sherry. And I could also do it with other metadata like department, or sorry, and sales and so on. And then it would just give me areas that were mentioned by sales folks with results.
And then from each of these results, you can jump right into a chat with that result by clicking summarize. And then you get like a little prompt window with that context as the, yeah. So then you can ask questions about this call. Yeah. So that's like what we did in OMP NAFU is like you're just having one context selected, right? Checked in your data set. So this is how that workflow is happening from the search results. So you're having a conversation now with the data that you just found.
Yeah. This is crazy, actually.
Yeah. And then so you can copy this result, but you also have a thumbs up, thumbs down. Can you explain that Dan?
Yeah, so this thumbs up, thumbs down is being able to share feedback on specific results. And so this would go to our search intelligence team. They would get the context of what you were typing, like what the conversation was on the document. And then you'd be able to say this was inaccurate or complete or so on, or vice versa, be able to say that it was a good result. And this goes into the signals on overall how the large language model is performing for your specific instance. Because we'll deploy all of our algorithms and the large language model specific to each company to make sure that it's truly understanding your models of language and how you talk to each other and so on.
So how do you upload the data? How do you upload data? That's another thing.
Yeah, it's a good question. So it all gets uploaded into Glean. So the data itself is living within this search index, right? And so if I was to look for search index, like this is 23,000 results that are uploaded into our search index behind the scenes. I can even do like a wildcard search, which is just an asterisk for us, and see all the data. So this is 533,000 results uploaded in our system. And the way it works is the IT admin will essentially come in here beforehand the users are in, and they'll connect up all the different applications using APIs. And so we'll essentially
You guys store the data?
So the data all gets hosted within a Google Cloud project, and none of it comes directly to Glean. It all remains in that Google Cloud project.
Oh, nice.
So you can either be hosted by the client or hosted by Glean.
Yeah. So can you do one other thing for me here, Dan? At the top, can you select like a type of data? Let's do okay, so you have all these different types. So these types are defined as you bring stuff in. It's or these predefinitions, are they a set or do you define them for each company?
Yeah, these are all set, and it's based off our detection. So if we detect that a presentation lives in, right, in this case, Drive and Slack, where Slack would be documents that are mentioned here,
Yeah.
then you'll be able to pick them up.
And then can you scroll down? Oh, can you go back to that where you had some additional, scroll on the right So can you explain what these additional facets are? Because you have type, you have visibility, workspace. So like you have different ways to filter here.
Yeah, so when we start to think about each specific data type, a lot of them will come with their own metadata. You can think about channels in Slack, or the visibility, whether it's a public or private, or if you have multiple workspaces and so on. And so we give you the ability to still use those filters on top of the global filters we talked about.
Yeah, that's super interesting, powerful. So when those meta features, like for each connector that you guys already have, is that like sort of predefined? And if so, can we define some additional attributes that we want part of the metadata?
Yeah, as long as they exist within the API that we're picking up from, you'd be able to define those out pretty easily.
Oh, that's what I wanted to show Nafu. So
Yeah.
you can filter all this metadata based on a type of data set, type of data source.
Slack, Jira.
So there's a ton here, right? Like Jira comes with, I don't know, 30, 40 different fields by itself. So we don't show all these on the main search results page, but they do exist behind the scenes.
That's super cool.
So if we wanted to find, epic status of a certain thing, and we were to break something down by, let's say we were looking for the pull requests. In Jira, you have a lot of these different facets on the right side that you can use to break it down. But then if we wanted to use something like epic status, I don't even know what they are, right? And so it pulls through what they are in progress done in 2D.
It puts that right in there in the preview there in your search bar. That's incredible.
And then if I want to find these ones, right?
So can you go back to that little button to bring up all the meta fields again? I want to see what Outlook shows you.
I don't have Outlook.
Oh, okay. You don't have email in here?
There's
Gmail. Okay, Gmail. Okay.
It'd be similar to this.
You could
Wow,
search
okay.
through the emails with this as well.
Yes. Yes. You search through all your email, everything that you connect into it.
Like, could you tell the assistant to even write replies, write things for you? Like, oh, do this, create that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to have it do that. Summarize.
And I already have a feature request in Nafu for a prompt library. So Dan, instead of typing that out, could have just picked from a template and hit enter. But yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
And you can even have it do things. What I like is like it knows who the people are within the company, right? Because of how Glean works. It knows who I am, and it knows who my boss and so on. So if I was to say I'm having a meeting with my boss later on, how will he react to it'll kind of know the difference, like it'll know how people are relating to each other and so on. So we're already seeing examples of being like, I have a meeting with these 3 people later this week and I want to do this business proposal, right? How will he can I write it in a way that it will be well received by him, right? And then it'll look up who AJ is, it'll look up what he thinks about, right? Obviously AJ being the head of sales and success, very supportive of new client launch, and it'll actually give me feedback as him.
So this is really interesting, and I want to pause here for a moment to really emphasize this point. So Nafu, what the platform is doing, it forms a knowledge graph for the entire company based on people, content, and activities. Is that about right, Dan? Yep. So that's the magic here, is that once you have that information in a knowledge graph and you understand how your company works together on the data, you can ask complex questions like this and send it to ChatGPT to answer. But it's the knowledge graph, it's the power of connecting the people, the content, and the activities of those people together in a knowledge graph is what gives us this ability. So it's not just showing the sources that go into the answer, it's showing people relevant to those sources. And then you can just go and find that person. I think this is a good segue, unless Nafu, you had a particular question here, but let's show Nafu how the people are interacting, or the people are connected into this platform.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, having a unified person or people profile is one of the biggest parts of this, right? So like I said, for you, be hooked up to Active Directory. For me, I think it's G Suite for our login. But it's automatically updating who's in the company and their relationships between each other, right? So I just mentioned AJ, he's my direct report. He rolls up to Arvind. This is who I spend a lot of my time with, right? Vish is our head of engineering, so I work with him on a lot of different projects for hosting and so on. But this is all based off our relationships to each other, the people distance or relevance. But again, I can look for people really easily to find who's on our marketing team and so on.
And how are these relationships defined? You mentioned Active Directory. So Active Directory, you know, they have fields, you know, they put in your, you know, your contact info, your title, and then maybe the group that you're in or the department is. So it's just, is it pulling like the groups that you're in or the distribution list that you're in from Active Directory as well, to sort of try to put together an understanding of how you guys are connect to one another?
Yeah, we don't rely too much on
Are these predefined? Like, do you set this up, or you import it from like it's like LinkedIn or somewhere?
No, so these are defined from the HR tool.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in our case, we use Gusto for HR, and then we don't
Makes
connect to
sense.
Gusto. We just connect to the single sign-on provider, which has some of these fields piped in from the HR tool.
That's smart.
And we do it that way so that we don't actually access the HR tool with all the performance reports and payment information and so on.
I see.
Just taking a few select files or like few select fields from this, right? So title, department, location, join date, manager email, and then direct reports email, as well as any teams they're tagged on. And this provides the basis of that org chart so that I can understand who John is from a visual perspective. The rest of the relationship between John and myself, or anyone else, Paloma and myself in the company, is all driven. Oh, hold on. Go back to that. So let's say, John. It's all driven by the connections between us in the company from an application level. So, or what the other thing we're doing on this profile is understanding John has 2 emails that he uses, understanding anywhere where he's logged in and has a profile, even if it's not his full name, right? And that will then relate all of his content and his activity from all those applications to me. And so I can then see these are the related people to him based off where he's spending his time and some of the things he's publishing. So if John can't help me with my question, I can go to Blair, and he's probably working closely with him to figure out what I'm looking for. But then I can also see any public activity where I'm in a shared area to him in this recent activity space, or areas we've worked on a project together. So help you find a lot of information out about somebody.
That's really great. And you can contact them as well. You have contact buttons. So let's say you found someone, or, you know, like this one. Okay, so Nitish Apanasamy. So you want to reach out to Nitish. You can just click his name, right? And then you'll have all these contact methods.
Exactly. Yeah. Anywhere we click to, it'll open up in the native application and just direct me to him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is this book tab? The book tab. What is that?
So yeah, then we went through search, then we went through people search, then we start getting into how we can improve that people search or in the content search itself, right? So start to augment the search results so that it best fits your company. And this helps you put in information that might not be written down somewhere, but it might be in a tribal kind of conversation or in someone's folder or something like that. So collections are essentially a group of documents from a number of different areas, right? Like this is my partnerships collection. And you can see I have Salesforce reports and Slack channel, and then some other collections I put in here that contain information, as well as links from GCP and so on.
And then I just noticed as you moused over those documents, you have some action buttons appearing on the right-hand side. Okay.
Yeah, now we
So,
can
so you can preview, and I saw a summarize button as well appear. Yep. So right
Yep.
there, you have an AI action you can perform on that material, right? So you can then pull that material into a little chat just by clicking that summarize button, and then you can run all your GPT commands on that material right
Yep.
from there. So the collection stuff was like what we had in OMP as data sets.
Hmm.
Do you have sub collections, or is it just a parent level?
Yep, we have sub collections too. And you can have them all kind of layered together. So this is underneath the.
And then you can provision this, I think, in the admin tool. I mean, Hanley's still teaching me about what he's learning, but you can provision this, right? So you can like expose collections to certain departments or groups
Yep.
and hide it from others.
Exactly right. So yeah, collections is like a unified folder, and again, you can create collections within sub collections and so on. But putting something in a collection, so say if I wanted to look for partnerships, you're going to see that it'll improve the search results, because anything in that collections or in that partnerships collection will then get higher ranked when we're doing searches, including the collection itself. So that's going to help improve findability of some of that things. Same with answers. You can create an answers board, and then people who may have questions around, in this case, AI answers, they all know that Vivek is the right person to go to for their questions.
So
and
these are like frequently asked questions for a company.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
So this will rank probably higher than an AI generated answer, right?
It'll also take its spot too. So in this case, we know that this is the right answer because Josh.
Okay. So Nafu, remember that question this morning that everyone had, 50 people.
Yeah.
You know, that's a commonly asked question that you guys get repeatedly. So I can see this being for certain things. Okay, Glean's office address, stuff like that. It's like that sticky that you want on your monitor is now on, in Glean as it like a certified answer. And then you get that at the top.
And it also is pretty smart. So if I wanted to find out how do I take PTO or time off or anything around that semantically, it'll be smart enough to give you the right
That's
answer.
crazy, man.
So it's doing a semantic search as well, right? When you put in the keywords there.
Yeah. Then you'll see someone's put the employee handbook in this answer, and the employee handbook will then be higher ranked in any related search results. So this is something we use for crowdsourcing. There's also announcements. So you can push announcements to someone's home page. I don't have one right now, but it would show up as a little card here. With a little bit of an announcement.
Can you pause there for a second? I wanted to highlight also to Nafu that you see your calendar appointments there.
Yeah, that's
so
from
your home page, you see your relevant content, your relevant mentions, suggested content based on your work activity, but also what your day looks like.
It's interesting. Now I use notes to do this. Like I just have everything in like my notes app, but yeah, that's crazy. That's actually very impressive. Really.
Your notes app, is that through Office 365 or
no,
where's that
the
from?
app on the iMac, the MacBook.
Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure, well, you tell us, Dan, but can that pull from notes? Probably can, but
but like I would even need that if I use this, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's in the cloud somewhere connected up to the cloud, we'd be
Yeah.
able to do it.
So Dan, on the left-hand side, what is that? You showed us what's that right there? The bot. Yeah. So that's cool. So let's talk about goal links a little bit. I kind of understand how that works, but last time we did the demo, we were a little cut short when we were talking about that.
Yeah, so just some of the other ones here. And these tools, again, they're to help with searchability of information. But when we get into tools, it's more about how we can make things really easy to find for users versus putting things in collections or answers. And so Go links is the ability to create these URL vanity links for any document. And so in this case, we go/security, and that will take everyone to the same homepage. I have to, I'm using a developer account right now, but it would normally just, you'd type in go/security, and I get brought right to that document.
So you're doing, we don't see this on the screen. So this is on another tab, Dan. So
Right.
you're doing this in your
So I was gonna
URL.
ask- I was gonna ask
You're doing
something
that. So
before.
where are you doing that? You're doing that in your, on another tab in a URL?
Yep.
Okay. So that's because so you have this Chrome extension, right? That allows that?
Yeah, and then it takes me directly to that document.
Okay.
You don't see
So
this
these
link.
are like shortcuts, frequently asked documents, frequently accessed documents you can stick there.
Yep.
So people can access them really easy, no matter what, where that document lives. Like as long
Yeah.
as it's connected into Glean, you don't have to open up another app.
Like things like this, right? Go, like our MNDA, we all want to use the same
So
one.
how does it just do a document preview? It doesn't open up Google Drive, right? Or does it?
It actually opens up Google Drive. Takes
Oh,
you
okay, okay. So that's a shortcut to open up any of the apps where that material is housed
Yep.
just by clicking that link.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can create these Go links to anywhere in your company. We've got a lot of them. But again, it lets you redirect people to something when they should find it relatively easy. So we have
Yeah.
that for pilot timeline deck and a whole bunch of different areas. And then we give insights on who uses these links as well.
Cool.
Pins is putting something to the top of the search result. So everyone that searches for roadmap will find this product roadmap document.
Mm-hmm.
It also has a Go link on it. So using a lot of these features, the last feature is verification. So being able to request verification or verify a document for a period of time. If I was to request verification on something, it would send an email then to Tony to say, is this a duplicate document or is it the right one?
It sends a document to the it sends a message to the document owner.
Yep.
From the Glean system account.
Yep. And so that's
nice. Oh, that's really cool. So you can communicate with the owner of the document if you have a question on its, on its content, or is it incorrect, outdated?
yeah, and I can send that, and that
Okay.
request will be sent to Tony.
Okay. And then whenever the change is made in the source app, it gets updated in Glean, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
So Nafa earlier asked, how do we get information here? So that's where we would do in the admin console. We would set up these connectors through the SSO provider, and I'm not sure who that would be in Avanti's case. It might be Active Directory or wherever their SSO is. And then we would connect to these apps through there, pull them in, and then it maintains. How often does it maintain synchronous data sync from the source app to Glean?
Yeah, it's about every 5 minutes or so that will update the end applications into the search index.
So if access changes, somebody leaves the company, they need to be booted out of all their systems, their account gets locked, that will copy over to Glean. So then that person can't log into Glean. And if they are already logged into Glean, it should, their results that they see should be reflective of what they just lost access to.
Yep.
In all these applications. And then conversely, if they are promoted or they join another team and they get access to things, all that's done. You don't have to do anything in Glean, because you just make those admin adjustments in the respective app, and then what they see is reflected in Glean, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay.
So
Yeah, super cool. Yeah.
I guess the last two tabs, like what do they do? The Rocket one.
Yeah, so this is the chat that we touched on, and there is a few early prompts, not a prompt library, but a little bit of information on like how to get started, right? So draft me a document or an email or a press release or generate something or how do I or what's happening with a project or client in the last week. So this is your natural language environment, right?
That's your enterprise chat GPT now for everything in your company, your org.
That's cool.
That's using GPT-4. Is it?
Yeah.
So Dan, one of the questions we had was how are you guys getting these answers so quickly from GPT-4? Because GPT-4 API is supposed to be slower. I mean, it is slower. Every other developer we've spoken with. So you guys are getting very quick answers. So maybe it's using 3.5 turbo. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's GPT-4, but
yeah, we use both. We have 3.5 turbo and we have GPT-4. It goes back and forth depending on what it believes is going to give the strongest answer. We also have our quotas increased with OpenAI so that we can get faster response time for any of these queries. That's based off us doing a big commitment with Azure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the latest and greatest product release we've come out with is this chat experience, and something we'll be improving more and more on. But again, it's based off of the underlying information in Glean, including all your permissions to the document. So it's never going to tell you anything you shouldn't know. It's the exact same as a search.
Right. No, that's awesome. And then when you click on those sources, it opens up that respective document, right? Does it open it up in another little prompt window so you see it? So are we allowed to see that? Could you click something there or?
Yeah, it shows just like this.
Okay. All right.
So just open right up. And then there's also a sidebar too. So if you wanted to search anything in the sidebar extension, you could do that right within your browser as well. And this
wow, we didn't see that before. So that is in your sidebar. How are you accessing that? Is that just like a little button in your browser toolbar?
Yeah, there's a button up here, or you can click Command J, and it'll open up this sidebar.
So do you see that, Nafu? So they don't necessarily have to log in to Glean to the application, but can you do the AI assistant from here?
Yeah, and then if I was actually on another tab with some content here.
Oh, look at that. That's the first time we're seeing this.
Yeah,
that's
so it's
super
smart
cool.
enough to pick up that you're on this page or you're trying to solve this ticket, right? And
man.
This is a summarization of whatever you're looking at or the ticket. Here's some other content that you could look at that's related.
Is this like a plugin or?
It's a browser extension.
Oh, okay. That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so you have to be, but you got to be probably logged into the platform, right?
Yeah.
You log into the platform and then you can browse other sites. Oh, okay, so if you're opening up a document, you're previewing it in your browser and that document is stored in Glean, you can then just go to the AI assistant and start asking that document questions.
Yep.
Exactly. Oh man,